Congratulations, Randy, on the milestone and the anniversary. You've got no off-season. That's not easy to do that all year round. Riddle, I'm sure you're looking at Randy and you're thinking, how do I last the distance on this man? So what advice would you give to Riddle to have the longevity that you've had?
Oh, well, that's easy. Kind of looking at the things he's doing in the ring. And, there's some high-risk stuff. Like, for instance, tonight in London, he doesn't need to risk his neck by doing a double, triple, corkscrew, something or other off the top rope to the floor, because even though that would get a huge reaction in the moment, 10 seconds later, everybody would have forgotten about it and we would have moved on to either the next match or the finish. Or, it's important what we're doing and we give 110%, but some of these guys, they're going so high risk. You can't risk your career 200 nights a year. You know what I mean? So it's like percentages, risks. You got to look at all that and assess like what makes the most sense for me to be able to do this every single night. A floating bro off the top rope to the floor onto a group of guys, like you're going to be good, but there's that high risk factor. So maybe taking things like that out, saving them for a WrestleMania or something like that. That'd be right off the top of my head, the first thing. But he's already been doing that, and you wouldn't even notice because he's one of the hardest working guys in the ring. So, like, even when I'm on the apron watching him, he's a goofball, but he's also one of the most intelligent guys I've ever met either. So it's like he's got a little bit of everything, and when it comes to the stuff he does in the ring, he doesn't hold back. So I guess that would be the main thing with him personally, is to hold back because he's always going so hard, balls to the wall the entire time.
That's excellent. That makes total sense. And Riddle, what have you learned from Randy?
What haven't I learned? I feel like I've learned a lot about the business side of things and handling myself, but not just in the world of wrestling, but in the world of WWE. Because I feel like each promotion, each company I've worked for kind of has a different landscape, from the UFC to WWE to the independent scene everywhere. And I feel like he's really helped me guide through the waters as smoothly as possible. At least for me, because I kind of ruffle feathers all the time, and he's been helping me out a lot with that. And of course, in-ring ability and just watching Randy every night do what Randy does best, you're going to get better, and your time is going to get better. Your confidence is going to go up. Your confidence on your swagger goes up on the microphone. Everything goes up. And from day one till day now, for me, at least for me, my point of view, it's night and day. Like the transition and changes I've made. And I wouldn't say maybe from outside looking in, it's harder to see, but from being on the inside looking out, it's night and day, like I said. And my job has gotten drastically easier and more fun working with this man.
That's awesome. Thanks, guys.
It might not seem like this to some people, but you're almost taking on a bit of a coach's role, Randy, with Riddle in as many words, as well as being his partner. Would something like that at the Performance Center perhaps interest you? I know you've spoken about being, having done this for 20 years and not really having any interest in stopping anytime soon, but along with your wrestling, would something at the Performance Center helping the younger talent down there at NXT 2.0 potentially?
I don't really think I'd be a good coach. My thank you very much. See, it's just doesn't get any better than that. I don't think I'd be a good coach because I would start to just ramble, and my wife tells me all the time, once I get going, I just kind of, you'll ask me a question, and I might get back to it, the answer, but I just start to ramble like I am now. But so coaching, it's almost like I don't know how to articulate to maybe like a group of green guys that are coming into the business that need to learn the basics, right? But coaching, like if there was 3, 4, 5 guys, a small group, and if we could go talk, sit in the ring, and if it could be like a close quarters, just a small group of people to where we're not doing drills and stuff, but just talking, maybe watching tape. I think I could be good in that aspect, if I just had a couple of ears at the same time. But as far as him, I don't consider myself I don't think I'm coaching him at all. Like to me, a coach, like, you know, when you look at what he can do in the ring, like I'm on the apron seeing this stuff, you know, and it's stuff that I never did or was incapable of doing, or it's not my style, but he's constantly impressing me with that kind of stuff, the stuff that he's physically able to do. So like, there's no coaching needed there. And as far as the other stuff, just when I'm in his ear, the stuff that he's talking about, the little things, the in and out of the ring stuff, that's just more of, the fact that we're friends and I want to see him succeed, and the better he does, the better I do. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't say I'm a coach in any regards to him.
He's definitely a friend because I've seen other people make the same mistakes as me, and he definitely doesn't give them the 411.
Yeah, well,
you're
well,
like, oh, that guy's, screwing himself over there.
well, sometimes you know that any advice or time spent on a certain talent could be a waste of your time. Like, and not everybody that comes to you and asks, hey, will you watch my match tonight? They don't all really give a fuck what my critique's going to be, because they just know that it looks good to say, hey, Randy, will you watch my match tonight? So, you know, you kind of over the years, you figure out who's full of shit and who's not. And, you know, he obviously wasn't full of shit, you know.
People do ask you a lot to watch their matches.
Yeah, I feel bad because
I'm always like, do you want me to watch your match? Nobody has said yes yet.
I've got so many like text messages with guys that have sent me links to, like, even from other companies, guys that I know real well. Hey, watch this match I had, you know. And so I've got a lot of stuff queued up that I need to go watch still, because it's hard to get to all that stuff. But I enjoy doing it, and it's funny because to me, like when the light bulb went off, and from that moment on, a lot of stuff in the ring was kind of just common sense. So when guys are asking me for advice or, you know, my opinion on something, it's like it's not hard to search. It's almost common sense to me at this point. So like when I see something and I mention it to a guy, I almost feel bad because, oh, well, of course he knows this. I don't want to tell him, you know, this is left, this is right. He knows that. He's known that. But no, that's not the case. What's common sense to me isn't necessarily common sense to all these other guys. So I got to realize that some of these guys really just come into this business. They're thrown on live television, maybe been in NXT 3 months, but they haven't learned. They haven't had enough time to learn. Like I've given NXT a lot of shit over a few years because like their guys aren't ready. That's not like a knock on the coaching or anything. It's the system. God, this will be the headline. The system's flawed. It's flawed in the sense that you don't have a certain amount of time it takes for a guy to graduate. You've got the possibility that some guy with an amazing look, but who's green as hell and dangerous as hell, someone up here in Stamford might see him and go, I want him on TV in 3 weeks. So then you can't give a guy 500 matches worth of experience in front of a live crowd in 3 weeks. You can't teach him the art of professional wrestling if he didn't grow up a fan and doesn't understand it in 3 weeks. So now you've got a guy on Raw being told by a higher up, hey, red lights on tonight, live TV. I know this is your first night. You got to make it look good. You got to lay that stuff in. You know, Vince has got you know. So now I don't know that my opponent, who's green and only been doing it 3 weeks and is 5 times as tall as me, is being told to beat the shit out of me. So then I go out there in the ring to work, and then it's like, whoa, boom, what the fuck are they teaching you down there? Then I do an interview, and it's like, yeah, NXT, yeah, no good. But so you see where I'm coming from. Like it's an experience. Time and grade, they just don't have it because the amount of time hasn't gone by for them to achieve that kind of experience. But anyway, see, there I went. Fucking just.
Yeah, I'll go. I was going to say, we spoke to Cody Rhodes, Randy, after WrestleMania, the night after, and he was giving us a Randy Orton story about pulling your idols out of water and stuff.
All right.
I wonder if you would like to have your own Cody Rhodes story to harmonize us from the.
Oh boy. So like I got one, but I don't think I want to tell it. because then he'll hear that I told it, and then he'll have more stories. So then we'll just keep one-upping each other, and the next thing you know, we'll both be fired or in jail somewhere. No, Cody, so like he was young, but I was still young when he came up, and I was still kind of in a period of time where I needed a babysitter. So as much as he puts me over for taking him under my wing when he was brand new, drove me around town to town. Like he was a good, like Cody probably is responsible for getting me town to town safely for a good 3 years of my career. Like where if it wasn't for him, I might not be here right now. Like he was my babysitter after the show. As far as stories, man, we had a lot of wild, fun nights going out with the boys and shit, but that was like a lifetime ago. We're both married now with kids, and there's no reason to bring up all those old memories, but maybe when my kids are grown, his kids are grown, a book's in order, and there could be a chapter on all the funny shit Cody did, for sure.
Can I ask you both as well about WrestleMania this year? Because Randy, you've got a ton of experience at WrestleMania, but for you, Riddle, this is one of your first ones. I know you had Sheamus last year. How was it to be in a ring with so many talented people? And I was there. The roof was coming off the place. It was great.
It was pretty sweet. It was definitely, I think the year before I wrestled Sheamus had a great showing, but I still felt like I didn't have my WrestleMania moment yet. And I felt like this year, the way the match was laid out and how things played out and how well they played out, I felt like I finally got my WrestleMania moment. I hit that springboard
That's right.
RKO off the top rope. Randy followed up with hitting one on Gable. We won the match, and to be in front of 78,000 people live at WrestleMania after everything we've all been through, and to hold those championships up high, there's nothing better. Literally, that's what I've always wanted.
How about the pop off that springboard? That's another thing, like talking about high risk stuff earlier. Like, it's Mania, so you're going to maybe bust out the high risk stuff. But like the guys that do the springboards, like it's wild to me, man. He put it all on the line. He's barefoot too, so that makes it harder, doesn't it?
A bunch of the dudes are wearing baby oil.
Yeah.
Barefoot, baby oil, ropes. Yeah, dude, it gets dicey out.
Yeah, so like just having the balls to commit, like in the finish of that match, to that springboard, like a lot can go wrong. I hate saying it, but it's true. So like just the fact that he went for that maneuver, is impressive. But that just goes. He's very confident, almost to a fault sometimes, a little cocky. But I think we could use that later on down the line. The narcissism, it's probably got a little bit. Probably got a little bit of that from me too. But I think it's the kind of way that there's got to be a little bit of vanity, like in the entertainment business. You got to care a little bit. You got to be confident, and when you come through the curtain, it's nice to be able to separate it, but sometimes it spills over into real life.
The RKO was different to the Seth one.
Yeah,
do you know
right.
What I mean? So to be in its own right at the Mania,
right?
People remember against a legendary one like that.
No one's ever gonna see me hit a springboard RKO. I mean, well, never say never.
Never say never.